article caught my attention because they're saying that 5% of the population now suffers from celiac disease, more generally gluten intolerance, but especially in North America and Europe. And the symptoms, here's the symptoms of gluten intolerance include nausea, diarrhea, skin rashes, macrocytic anemia, that's one to maybe Google, and depression. It is a multifactorial disease associated with numerous nutritional deficiencies, and it increases the risk of thyroid disease, kidney failure, and cancer. Okay, those are 3 things that you say that, it gets my attention, all right? So, here's the thing, and like I said, I apologize for having to glance down at my notes, but you know, I read through this and I thought I'm not going to just wing it. This is too important information to not be extremely accurate. So they said that they're proposing, according to this author of this, their proposes here we propose that glyphosate, the active ingredient in the herbicide Roundup, is the most important causal factor in this epidemic of gluten intolerance. Now, I don't, I say this with caution because I don't like to diss a specific product or retail product. So my disclaimer is this: I am reading this from a person who did some research, and the active ingredient glyphosate could be in other products as well. So it's good to maybe learn that and look at it. So anyway, here's what she had found. In 1974, they round up a glyphosate herbicide, which makes me believe that there's probably others out there. In 1974, Roundup kills every grass or broadleaf plant that it touches, so that it had limited agricultural application. Determined to sell more of their virulent, this is a quote, herbicide, Monsanto chemists, which make the Roundup, used genetic, and here's the thing that I really wanted to use, genetic engineering in the late 1990s to create seeds that could tolerate high doses of Roundup. Or I'm going to use glyphosate just to be safe. Glyphosate ingredient in herbicides. So here's the thing, when you go shopping, you'll see a lot of things that say organic, made with organic products, non-GMO, and what that is, if you're not, oh, here we go, the nose is running, I'm sorry. GMO are genetically engineered products, okay? That can be food products, and it says, farmers began feeling free to spray their products or their crops with GMO, on their genetically modified GMO, which is genetically modified. I don't know what the O stands for. Maybe organisms. It was corn, soy, cotton, canola, sugar beets, alfalfa crops. The weeds died and the GMO crops survived. So the thing about this is, I think it comes down to the same thing I've been saying all along, is you have to be a label reader. I tell my patients in the clinic who have had a hand injury or whatever, I tell them, you have to be your own advocate. Back in the day, doctor was king, and whatever the doctor said, you did. And I'm not saying that doctors aren't competent, but we as consumers, we have become consumers. in the healthcare industry, that you have to look, it's your responsibility. I mean, you have one body, one life, and it's your responsibility really to research. I mean, to look at some of these articles that come up, and you have to be careful of the source. I believe that this was found on LinkedIn by a credible source, but you have to look at, like, where is this information coming from? But I've always been bothered by this whole gluten thing, you know, and why it's absolutely become epidemic, and it's just unbelievable. And here's what it says. According to Monsanto, which is the company that makes Roundup, it says, when it comes to safety, oh, lost track. This is unrehearsed, you guys. Not scripted at all right? According to Monsanto, and I quote, when it comes to safety assessments, no other pesticide has been more extensively tested than glyphosate. In evaluations spanning 4 decades, overwhelming conclusion of experts worldwide, including the EPA, has been that glyphosate can be used safely according to label directions. Okay, what exactly does that mean? Well, what the author found was that the glyphosate ingredient in products, well, for this particular study of Roundup, it says it's deemed safe for the sprayer. So it's talking about the person administering it being safe. It's safe for the sprayer who follows the label instructions. But the question that she raises is, what about the people and animals that innocently consume the grains contaminated by this powerful herbicide? Now, this is a huge deal. There was I think a movie. Well, there's been several movies on contamination of water, contamination of food products, the use of antibiotics and hormones in cattle and things like that. And trust me, I'm not one of these, like tree hugging granola people. I own a business. I'm a working person, and not all of us have the time to really go and get the fresh stuff, buy the organic, and do all that stuff. All we can do is the best we can do. Okay. So the thing is that you have to really. This answered a question for me. Now, whether this needs further research, I don't know. Here I go. I'm distracted by Romeo, my 20-year-old beautiful cat. Anyway, it says 15 health problems are attributed to exposure to glyphosate and are listed and explained in EcoWatch's article, including celiac and gluten intolerance. So here's what you've got to learn. What is the takeaway from this? The takeaway is their thing is the responsibility for the gluten intolerance, and they call it epidemic, is placed directly on the doorstep of those that use glyphosate. Particularly, they're naming specific Monsanto who created Roundup. Now, like I said, I would be curious to find out if other products that are used for the same purpose have the same ingredient in it. So glyphosate is probably the one thing you want to look on when you look at labels, whether you're spraying for pesticides or whether you're looking at, whatever you're looking at as far as products around the house. And it says the impact of glyphosate residues on health is warranted, and the global regulations for the use of glyphosate may have to be reevaluated. Now, we can get into this other side of the spectrum where and I'm not taking this lightly, but everything causes cancer. I mean, I think that number one, whatever it is, whether you're using a food product, whether you're buying clothing, buying whatever it is that you are buying as a consumer, is that buyer beware and do your own research, okay? And the thing is too, is not everybody is the same. Everybody's body chemistry is going to react differently to different things. But when they're coming out with an article like that, naming a specific ingredient, and the other thing too is, like I said, the genetically modified foods is disturbing to me. And there was a movie, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of it, but it was all about and I'm not sure who these people are, but they were buying up farmers' lands so that they could produce more products or more crops at a faster pace, make them bigger, better, just easier to sell in the marketplace by genetically modifying them. How they do that, I honestly don't know. But to me, anytime you modify something in Mother Nature that you're ingesting, that really can't be good. So I think that, and it's hard. Like I said, I have a business and then I work in a clinic, and it is very, very important to buy your foods at the store fresh rather than packaged. Now, we all know about, like I said, I'm getting off topic here, but what I'm talking about is the whole gluten-free thing. Now, I'm not saying that it's not a real thing, because I know. Like I said, I have a family member who suffers from it, and it is a real problem. But this article went so far as to say, if people who are gluten intolerant are actually Monsanto Roundup intolerant or glyphosate intolerant, it may be most important to search for food products that have not been sprayed with this poisonous herbicide. So that means, and here's the cat, eating only non-GMO and or eating only USDA organic or certified organic products. All three certifications indicating that the grain has not been sprayed with herbicide. If a product is labeled gluten-free, contains GMO corn, for example, it is likely that the corn would have been sprayed with the herbicide and thus cause a negative reaction to that person who has gluten intolerance. Extremely interesting. I know that a lot of people will automatically cut out wheat. There's so many gluten intolerant, I'm sorry, I digress. There's so many products that are listed as gluten-free, just like non-fat, reduced calories. People, please look on the package and look for these things. If they're USDA organic, it's going to have that regulation. That is, legally, they cannot put that on a product unless it is grown and manufactured, whatever, without herbicides. Okay? Certified organic. And then also the non-GMO. So you could buy gluten-free. Here's the thing that's kind of scary. You could buy a gluten-free product, but still have ingredients such as corn or whatever things that are not wheat that were sprayed with glyphosate, which is the trigger, apparently, according to this researcher, for the celiac disease. So, in conclusion, here's just one more thing, and I know I'm going a little bit long, but there was a writer in Oregon who points out one of the leading national voices about wheat is Dr. William Davis, a preventative cardiologist. He is famous for the Wheat Belly series. His contention, backed by lots of clinical data, is that celiac disease is actually caused by a protein called gliadin. He would fully agree that wheat has become so adulterated by companies that use glyphosate that it no longer resembles the wholesome grain from biblical times. Now, just as an example of that, I had a friend who's a registered dietitian. She worked a lot with diabetics, and she worked with people of Native American background. We have quite a few tribes out here in Arizona. And one of the reasons why they have so many problems with diabetes, obesity, alcohol intolerance, and things like that is that back in the day, the Native Americans ate a whole lot different than your modern day, where you get, products that are on the shelf and they eat a lot of sodium, whatever. Anyway, her contention is that they are having a reaction to this process that's gone over several years of really causing what used to be healthy foods not be as healthy. And so it's kind of interesting to me. I feel like I'm kind of going all over the place here, but I think you're getting my message. I'm a huge label reader. I wanted to end with one last quote. Let me make sure. Here's what the Dr. Davis said. Some people are unable to eat any grain for best health. And here's a quote. The few foods that increase blood sugar higher than even wheat include, listen up, rice flour, cornstarch, tapioca starch, and potato flour are the most common ingredients used in gluten-free products. A gluten-free whole grain bread, for instance, is usually made with a combination of brown rice, potato, and tapioca starches. So again, it's not just the wheat. You have to really do your own research and even consult a nutritionist, registered dietitian, or whatever. They are grossly underestimated as far as the importance of them being one of the providers for our own health. However, the other thing too is that besides the gluten, I think the biggest problem most people have is glucose intolerance. You have to look at glycemic index. People have fought to lose weight, have tried a lot of different programs, protein shakes, etc. And I'm not putting those down, but I'm just saying that a lot of times, just going back to the basics, human nature, and just like I said, can you afford, organic is expensive. Non-GMO, that's something important to look for because we don't want genetically modified. I mean, what is that going to do to our body? And the other thing too is, like I said, is that even if you are eating gluten-free, good for you for taking good care of yourself, but those products need to be, you need to read the label there as well and be very discriminate in what you purchase. I've gotten into the habit, my gym, where I work out, on the way home is a Sprouts Market or Whole Foods, whatever. It's has a lot of organic. They do have, apologize for that. Anyway, I may have to do this over. I don't think I'm going to do this over. Anyway, just pardon me. This is coming at you live, unscripted, unedited. Anyway, now I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, we were talking about, Oh, shopping at a Whole Foods market, such as Sprouts. I was told by a naturopath that you always shop on the periphery of the store first. That's where you're going to see the organic products, and it's going to be the most healthy. Think about it. It's kind of an interesting thing because she's saying shop on the outside. So I went in and I noticed, and she's right. A lot of the organic stuff, a lot of the, is along the side. In the middle, you have your regular fruits and things like that. And I think we talked about this at another time, that if you're going to buy fruit in particular, fruits and vegetables, if you can afford it, go organic. Okay. So anyway, I am so sorry. I had this call in the middle of my presentation, and I've gone way too long. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this information to you, and at least I'm by far not the expert, but I do think that when I come across something like that, I think it's important to share that. Hopefully, this has been of some value to you, and it will spark you to maybe do some of your own research. It is really fascinating when you get into researching some of these things, and you need to know, especially those of you with little children, with small children. A lot of these food allergies, a lot of these health issues start, very early on. Before we, like I said, nowadays, you guys as young moms, need to know this, because more and more, people get greedy and they want to sell things as fast as they can. And so they get into the genetically modified and all that. So anyway, like I said, I hope that this at least will perk your interest. And like I said, the keywords here: gluten-free, glyphosate, that's spelled, I want to make sure I'm spelling Glyphosate. Okay? And then look up non-GMO, look up USDA organic, and what that means. It's the only thing that is regulated by law. A product cannot say it's organic unless it has that seal. It's not organic unless it has that stamp of approval from the government. Oh my goodness, this has been plagued with problems. I think I lost connection. I'm going to sign off for now. And listen, you guys have a great Wednesday, okay? And I really appreciate any feedback that you can give me. Has this been of value to you? Both positive and negative feedback, because I'm trying to bring information that I come across to the public. And I think that a lot of times you can't trust everything that you read in the paper, everything that you see on the internet. So I try to bring you articles and things that personally I've researched or have found, and I look at who is doing the writing of these articles. So anyway, please feel free to share this. Please feel free to give me a like or make a comment, and let me know that you've seen this and where you're from. All right? Thank you so much for your patience today in sticking with me through some of the little broadcasting issues we've had today. So anyway, love you guys. Look forward to hearing from you. Please give me a holler. Please comment below or message me. But comment below, share, whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for watching and listening. Bye. See you soon.